Welcome back to Melody Guitar Book 2. This book focuses on learning how to read and play melodies in standard notation. You can watch all these videos for free, but it's going to be a lot easier to learn if you have your own copy of Melody Guitar 2, plus you can support a music teacher. So I'll leave a link for Melody Guitar 2 in the description. We're on page 36 and we have 2 new duets, both with their own challenges. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. You'll find that in most duets, guitar 1 plays the melody while guitar 2 plays a harmony part, but not always. In Molly Malone, number 77, guitar 1 has the melody in the first system, and guitar 2 has the melody in the second system. Now, Molly Malone is in 3/4 time with a pickup, and it's marked quarter equals 1/16. So there's 1/16. Let's take a look at guitar 1 first. And from this point, I'm not really going to go blow by blow through every single part. I don't think you need that anymore, but I will highlight some of the technical things you can look at. So we have, at the beginning, a G to a C. So you can have your first finger down on the C. And then in the second full measure, you can keep your finger down on the C because you're playing a C to an E on the first string and back to a C. So you can play that much without having to move a finger. Now we do switch to a harmony part pickup to the second system. So the pickup to the second system would just be the last note of the first system for guitar 1. So we have a G going to an E. So you might as well have your second finger ready to go on that E, and then in the second measure of the second system of guitar 1, we're playing E to a G and back. So you could keep your second finger down on that E if you like, because those notes are on different strings. Then the third measure of the second system, you have like a little scale passage, just F, G, A, B. And then in the next 2 measures, this is 4 measures from the end, we have an E to a C to a G. Those are on separate strings. So as kind of like as you did at the beginning, you can keep your first finger down the whole time. And if you like, you could even do a little sweep. You could just pick up, 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 up. And then you have a little scale passage going down. Now guitar 2 starts off with the harmony part, and just as I mentioned in guitar 1, where you're going from G to an E and back, once you have played that E in the first full measure, you could keep that E down as you move to the G, because you have to go back to the E anyway. And then F, 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 A, F. So watch out for little skips. It's very useful to be aware of skips and steps in your music so you can see the contour. It really helps, especially when you are first learning a tune. Then we have E to G, and then a little scale passage, step by step. And then second system, you have the melody. So just as I mentioned with guitar 1, you could keep your first finger down on the C throughout both of those measures. And then just watch out for these skips 4 measures from the end, the G, E, C. Try to keep your third finger hovering by that G as much as you can. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, play. If number 78 seems familiar, that's because you learned the melody for Sakura a couple lessons ago. Now this is in 4/4 time and it's marked andante, quarter equals 76, so not that fast, kind of medium slow. Now most of the time, the higher sounding notes are going to be your melody notes and the lower sounding notes are your harmony notes, but not always. In this case, the lower sounding part, guitar 2, is playing the melody and guitar 1 is playing the harmony part. I'm going to start off quickly going over a few things I talked about when we learned the melody for Sakura on page 35. I'm not going to go over it in great detail, but I do want to mention at the end of the first system in guitar 2, you have your B to your A to your F. Those are on separate strings and it's just string by string, string 2, 3, 4, so you can do a little sweep with your right hand. Instead of picking down, up, down, you could pick up, up, up. And that's called sweep picking or efficiency picking. And that happens a couple more times in this duet, at the end of the second system and again at the end of the entire duet. We're going to spend most of our time here looking at guitar 1. Now it's very important to be able to count through the long notes. I know I talk about that all the time, but you're going to see why right here. In the duets you've done so far, you're playing in what's called rhythmic unison. In other words, you're not necessarily playing the same notes, but you're playing the same rhythms all the time. If you look at the parts, guitar 1 and guitar 2 parts in number 78, that is not always the case. In guitar 2 at the beginning, you're playing quarter, quarter, half. But guitar 1 is playing half notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So both players really need to count their own parts and play through the long notes so you sync up with each other. Now in measures 1 and 2 of this duet in the first system, you are playing different rhythms. In measure 3, you're playing the same rhythm as the melody, which is guitar 2. So just C, D, E, D, nothing fancy there. Now that last measure, guitar 1 is playing quarter notes on beats 3 and 4, while guitar 2 is just holding out a half note. So guitar 2 is going to need to count through their long note there while you play 1, 2, and 3, 4. Beginning of the second system, if you're guitar 1, again, count through those half notes because guitar 2 has quarter notes, eighth notes, and a half note. You just have half notes, so make sure you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the next two measures of this system for guitar 1 are the same as the first system. And then beginning of the third system, or the last system of this one, is just like the beginning of the second system, so make sure you're counting through those half notes there. In the third measure of the third system, both parts kind of have opposing rhythms. Guitar 2 is playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, so quarter, quarter, half, quarter, quarter, half, while guitar 1 is playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or half, quarter, quarter, half, quarter, quarter. And then E or B, C, B. And we have a fermata over that last note, so you both hold that as long as you feel. Whoever is leading the duet, in this case guitar 2, will just give a little cutoff so you both know when to stop the note. Your assignment is to practice both parts of the duets on page 36, and as always, make sure you work on keeping a steady tempo by playing along with the video or to a metronome so you can choose your own tempo. And don't forget to order your own copy of Melody Guitar Book 2. You can watch all these videos for free, but it's going to be a lot easier to learn if you have your own book that you can read from and write in, so I'll leave a link in the description. Take your time with this, and then when you're ready, I'll see you on page 37. We have another duet that involves some trickier counting.